Hey, what is up, guys? It is Harrison Barron, the Millennial Entrepreneur. Now, my question of the day, this is actually pretty cool. I'm starting to get a lot of DMs on how to grow businesses, but essentially, should you broadcast your new business? When I put that in air quotes, I mean, it doesn't have insurance and it doesn't have an LLC on large forums. And this is my experience with that. Number one, if you're going to go on large forums, don't broadcast your stuff. Right off the bat, people get really, really angry when you're just broadcasting stuff or just self-promoting. It is one thing to have a really helpful article, hence why I preach content marketing, and ultimately, you probably shouldn't, because if you're doing that, you're going to get some negative attention. Yes, you theoretically could go out there and you could just go out and start blasting messages out there. There's one thing, you can sponsor a post where essentially you go into one of these groups, you say, hey, I want to advertise my business. They say, hey, it's going to be 100, 200, whatever that number is. And you get approved to put out a nice little post on, let's say, a Facebook group, a Reddit group, whatever it may be. That is a sponsored post. Typically, you have to label it as sponsored, but ultimately, it gets a ton of eyeballs and could potentially drive a bunch of sales. Now, for the flip side of that, if you're going to go into a forum and you're just going to start blasting out, hey, check out my company, check out my company, check out my company, I don't recommend it, and this is a mistake that I made when I first started my business. You will get chewed up. Look at this guy, look at this guy. They start cursing at you, hollering, hooting, the whole nine. It is probably not going to be advantageous for you. On top of that, you're going to get a lot of negative attention, and if you do choose to go back into that forum where you may hang out, you could potentially be in, I don't want to say some hot water, but people are going to look at you in a very negative light because all you did was self-promote and you didn't add any value. Typically, these forums work really, really well when you're adding value to other people. So, if somebody says, hey, I'm looking to start a business, yes, if you say, hey, I have an article written about this, so that way I don't have to write an essay on Facebook, that's probably not a bad way to self-promote. But if you say, hey, I have a new business, this is what I do, come check me out, buy my stuff, you're going to get torn up. And ultimately, the other thing too is if somebody finds out that you don't have an LLC and you don't have insurance, depending on what you do, right? Revert to my last video about insurance and an LLC and how much exposure you're willing to take. But essentially, somebody might come after you. If they know that you don't have insurance or something like that, they may buy your product. They might look for a legal loophole that you may not have, exposure or coverage from. And you can be sued or anything like that. So that is something that I would highly, highly recommend against. The cool part is if you partake in content marketing, which is something that I do, right? It's creating content just like this, and ultimately this is something I can use. So if I see somebody that says, hey, should I go out and just spam my company all over the internet? I'm going to send them this video, right? Content marketing is essentially making content for people and ultimately using that as a knowledge-based resource. So when somebody says, hey, should I go blast this out? Here's my thoughts on it, right? This is somebody that owns a small business, is looking to help other people and that kind of stuff. And that is ultimately how you should do it. If you just go in there, you start spamming people, it's not going to be good. Now, it is another thing to go out and tell people that you have a industry-specific product where it might be able to help somebody. So if you have a industry-specific product, what is an industry-specific product? If you have developed a new technology, you're a member of a niche organization. So if it's a volunteer fireman, if it's a military personnel or something like that, going into the forums and saying, hey guys, by the way, I just started a new company. We do this, this, this. If it's something that interests you, I'll drop a link down below. That's a less pushy way to get your name out there. And ultimately, it could be advantageous to you. It's not something I'm against, but if you just say, go buy my products, do this, it's really kind of how you frame it is where you're going to grow versus not grow. I did this too many times and I got so much flack, so much hate. Now, I've done a tremendous 180 where I'm adding so much value to people, and that's how I'm driving a lot of my traffic. I'm actually driving a lot of traffic through my personal Facebook by people visiting my Facebook and seeing who I am and what I do, and then they go visit my stuff. But the flip side of that is if you're just going to be really pushy, it's probably not the best thing. Now, what you can do is look for businesses supporting businesses or people supporting people or something like that, right? Or your niche organization. So if you're in a fraternity, you're a member of I don't want to say a cult, but a very small group of people, then yeah, you might be able to just get away with posting and saying, hey guys, we're starting a new company. This is what we do. If you want, go check it out. Support a local member. Something like that. I'm not against it. You have to look into the rules and regulations of all of these communities and things like that. If they say no, you can't self-promote, then you can't self-promote. Doesn't mean you can't go to the admins and say, hey, here's a $100 bill. Can I promote my stuff? They might say, yeah, I would love you to, because I want the money, right? But on the flip side of things, they might say, no, we don't allow any self-promotion, we don't allow paid posts or anything like that. I've ran into both of those groups, and paid posts range anywhere between $20 up to, I've never seen $1,000. I've seen several $100. I've seen about $400 to $500, which I think is crazy. But it also depends on the length of the post. I've seen groups where they say, hey, you can take over the banner of the top of the Facebook page or Facebook group, and you can have that for $100 a week or $200 a week. That's reasonable. Now, does it get a lot of attention? Yes. Is it worth it for your marketing efforts? I don't know. You'd have to try it out because every company is different. Every banner is going to be different. Ultimately, the amount of money you're going to make off of that banner is very different. So you really have to figure out what is right for you. If it's right for you, then yeah, then go do that. Go try it out. Go message a bunch of admins. Go spend a couple $100. And if you find something that hits, do it over and over and over again. But if you go out there and you don't do that, then no. The other thing that you could do is you can use Instagram and things like that where you can message large pages and say, hey, I have a new company, this is what we do, would love to promote it on your page, how much is it for a sponsored post? They might say, hey, a swipe up story or a post is 80, 40, 60 bucks. I've seen $10 a post up to $150, $200, $500 a post, depending on who you're going after and who you're targeting. If they have a huge following and it's a really active community, yeah, it's going to be a lot more money. If it's a smaller community, smaller following, it might be 20, 30, 40 bucks. It really depends on the size of the people that you're going after. Now, somebody might hear your story and say, you know what, I really like what you guys are doing, I want to be a part of it. A way that you can pitch this and say, hey, I'd love to do it for free, and here's your affiliate link. Anybody that buys, you get paid on it, right? We have a really good product. If you have a really good following that you believe in, you can make some serious money. Then it's no money out of your pocket. So an affiliate program for somebody like this is a really good thing. Now, should you do it without an LLC or insurance? Once again, it's back to the risk versus reward. How much risk are you willing to take for the reward that you're going to get? For the $1,000 it's going to cost you in New York to get an LLC, it's definitely worth spending the $1,000. Now, is insurance going to be more? Depends on what you do. If you're a higher insurance area, so if you're doing consumable or something where you're selling something where it could potentially harm the human body, your insurance is going to be a good bit more than, for example, what I do, where I do social media, websites, and things like that. So you have to figure out, and only you can figure out, how much exposure you're willing to get versus how much money you're willing to make. If you don't have to spend money on an LLC or insurance, that's saving you thousands of dollars per year. That could be thousands of dollars in revenue that you bring into the business to help it grow. Once again, risk versus reward. How much risk are you willing to be in for the reward, financial gains and reward that you're going to get? You have to figure that out. There's no guru on the internet that can give you the secret sauce. Personally, for me, like I said in the last video, I am very much so a play it safe, get the LLC. For the money that you're going to spend on it, it's worth it. For the insurance that you're going to spend, to not be liable or to know that if something happens, you're not going to be paying out of pocket forever, no matter what job you work in, yeah, it's definitely worth it. But that's up to you. That is completely in your court. Make your decisions. This is just a video and advising you on what I've done, what I've seen, and ultimately the route that I would go. Once again, for me, I'm not a big risk guy. Go low risk, medium reward. I'm happy with that. There's a ton of, other careers where it's high risk, high reward, right? You can be a real estate agent where it's a tremendous reward if you sell a house, but high risk because you're going weeks, months, and all your eggs are on you to make that money. That's ultimately how I live my life. It depends on your level of risk, your level of tolerance, and ultimately, God forbid something does happen that's really bad. Are you okay with paying that forever? It really depends. It depends on what you're doing, right? If I build a bad website that somebody doesn't like, worst comes to worst, especially if it doesn't go live, I just refund them. Other people, something bad happens, they go to the hospital, and now now it's a $50,000, $100,000 bill. I don't think I'm willing to risk that. So you as a small business owner have to figure out, do I want to get insurance? Do I want to pay for that LLC? You might also think, hey, maybe an LLC or an S-Corp is cheaper somewhere else. Maybe I want to go down that route, which is fine. But God forbid something does happen, be ready to find legal counsel in that state that you choose to start your LLC. This is how business works. This is how literally everything that I think about goes. If it's high risk, high reward, low risk, low reward, that's usually how it goes. So I hope this video helps. I hope if you're a millennial entrepreneur, if you're an entrepreneur, I'm the millennial entrepreneur, but if you're a millennial entrepreneur, kudos to you if you're looking to start a business. And if you need any help or you have any other further questions, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to help. Hit that like button, totally free, no risk, very good reward because you're going to help more people see a video like this. Hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell so nobody ever misses another video, including you. I don't want you to miss this because it might help you grow your business. Other than that, my name is Harrison Barron, the Millennial Entrepreneur, and I'll see you guys in the next one.